Hi, it's Leo Vader from Game Informer. Sorry I missed your call. Gears Tactics and XCOM Chimera Squad both launched within the last few days, and at first glance, they're remarkably similar games. They're both turn-based tactical shooters with aliens, and you click your mouse to move around, and you get mad while playing them. But I think they actually appeal to different kinds of players, and have some stark differences that really change how they feel moment to moment. I'm going to try to compare how each game approaches the genre to help you figure out which appeals to you more. Speaking generally, Gears Tactics has a much lighter learning curve than XCOM. With one button, you can see an overlay that shows the status effects and bonuses your enemies have and where the danger zone is for getting near them. You can move your characters in any order, and those characters can move and shoot and use abilities in any combination. So there's very few rules to remember there besides the amount of action points you're working with. From the first mission, it feels really satisfying to play. XCOM, on the other hand, is a little harder to learn. It displays some information like how it's calculating your shot percentage clearly, but other things like status effects require you to pause and dive into a sub-menu of a sub-menu and memorize what you see there. Your characters also move in a set order, and certain decisions like attacking will end your turn immediately. Other mechanics take some time to wrap your head around, like how your shots won't always do the amount of damage you think they will, due to armor or due to a difference between what it shows on the enemy health bar and the actual range of damage your attack can do. So I found each turn took much longer in XCOM as I consulted the menus and had to make my own calculations on top of the ones the game was doing for me. Once you break through that learning curve, it's similarly satisfying, but it took a good few hours to teach myself the lessons the game kind of failed to. Like I alluded to earlier, each game handles turn order in a different way. Gears is all friendlies move, then all enemies move, and repeat. Within that, you can move and attack with any of your characters in any order. So like if you start a turn with a friendly character pinned down by enemy overwatch, you can switch to a hero that's free and interrupt that overwatch and free up the pinned character to move. Having so much you can do in a given turn really feels empowering. Chaining executions and alternating characters in a smart way to maximize your kills in a turn, or getting everyone to focus on one big enemy to get him out of the fight quickly. XCOM, on the other hand, has interleaved turns, meaning they alternate character to character, interweaving friendlies and enemies. It's a little more restrictive, requiring you to constantly focus on and play against the turn order, like trying to stun the next enemy up in the order to prevent their attack. That's satisfying in its own way, and there are some ways to use abilities to move friendlies up in the turn order at important moments, but it definitely felt harder to come up with a strategy turn to turn and felt more like I was being backed into a corner than I was being a badass. Which again is cool, it's just a different vibe. As far as progression, Gears focuses on individual character growth. These sprawling, class-specific skill trees have 4 main paths you can choose to min-max, 1N, or spread out across. XCOM skill trees only offer a couple choices, but they're each more impactful in how you play them. For equipment, Gears offers randomized loot cases of mods and equipment pieces that can increase your power or help towards a specific build, while XCOM's equipment is built by you intentionally over time and bought from an in-game shop. XCOM's metagame is rich, with between-mission decision-making that, played improperly, can end your campaign prematurely. It's a really fun break in the action, with a lot of self-driven goals and resource management. So while Gears has that stronger individual character progression, XCOM has more satisfying progression for your whole squad as a unit, and I was missing that in Gears. Character permadeath is surprisingly a thing in Gears, but not a thing in the new XCOM. In a first for the series, Chimera Squad will end a mission and force a restart if a character is downed and not stabilized in time. Gears has a few hero characters that will end a mission if they get killed, but the majority of your recruits are expendable grunts that can die for good if a mission goes bad. If you're in it for the heartbreaking loss of your favorite soldier because you, like me, have something deeply wrong with you, Gears has those moments. Rename a character after your best friend and watch him get torn apart by locusts. It's badass. In XCOM, you have a few choices to make in the main story. You'll have choice in which faction you take on in which order, and which heroes you'll recruit, which leads to unique banter and story details based on their experience with the squad and each faction you're facing. In Gears, the story is told completely linearly. There's a little wiggle room with who you can take on missions, but the main characters are often a requirement. General fidelity observations go without saying this late into the video, but I'll put it on wax. Gears looks really nice. Maybe the best looking tactics game ever, if realistic graphics are your thing. The smooth animations and the pretty cutscenes really elevate the whole experience. It's also way more violent. I mean, I know we're all used to it and nobody says a word about it anymore, but you're blasting aliens in half and slicing their heads off and detonating one alien so it blows another alien into meat chunks. It's really gory, and if a non-gamer sees it over your shoulder, they'll probably be horrified. Which is whatever, it's just weird to me that every game is in some competition to see who can put in the most horrifying execution animation, and it's so normal that no one ever mentions them. I don't know. What video is this? XCOM is not as pretty looking. Weird bugs like your character popping up and shooting in the opposite direction of the enemy, it'll take you out of the experience every once in a while, same as with XCOM Enemy Unknown and 2. But the style and the character design are great, and the breach phase is super sharp and exciting. Oh right, there's a fun breach phase between encounters. You kick down the door and get a set of free attacks before the fight starts. Man, I'm screwing this video up. If you consider the value of a game to be the hours you put into it, Gears Tactics is $60, or included with Game Pass on PC, and took around 40 hours for our reviewer to beat. XCOM Chimera Squad is $20, although it's on sale for the next few days, and took our reviewer around 20 hours to beat. XCOM could also be considered more replayable, thanks to the choices you're making, mod support, and New Game Plus options that allow you to work through the campaign with a whole different set of heroes with unique personality and dialogue. XCOM's probably the better value here if you're just looking to dip your toes in the tactics genre, but like I said earlier, it's kind of less friendly to toe dippers than Gears is. To see which one is really better, let's look at our reviews. Game Informer gave Gears Tactics an 8.5, but only gave XCOM an 8. Oh, so Gears is better. That was easy. Really though, I love both of these games. I think Gears Tactics is more of a step forward for the genre, and will hopefully bring it to a wider audience with the exceptionally player-friendly design that leads to a really strong sense of empowerment and freedom. XCOM Chimera Squad, though, is more of a classically challenging tactics game that makes you think 10 steps ahead, both within the missions and within the rich metagame. I recommend them both, for sure, but Gears surprised me more and probably gets the edge for me. Thanks for watching. For more on these great games, check out our video review of Gears Tactics or our discussion on XCOM Chimera Squad on the Game Informer show. Leave a message and I'll be sure to get right back to you. Thanks.